Hey everyone, welcome to Phil Weber channel. I'm Phil and you're watching To Our Opinion, an experimental format where I share my thoughts on new game based on first impressions. Think of it as a review after just 2 hours of gameplay. I'll cover the core mechanics, game design, what worked well and what could use some improvement. Let's be honest, this video contains my subjective opinion formed after just 2 hours of play. So, if you have your own thoughts and ideas about this video, I'd love to hear them in the comments below. And of course, I'd really appreciate a subscription and a like if you enjoy this format. YouTube's algorithm is more confusing than Path of Exile skill free, after all. Now we have got the intro out of the way. Let's dive into the game itself. Today we are looking at a new release from VP Wholesome Studio, Hollywood Animal. Let's figure it out what this is and why we should care. Hollywood Animal is an economic simulator where you take on the role of bankrupt movie studio owner. You need to keep it afloat at any cost, making thought creative and financial decisions in America between the Great Depression and the late 1960s. Before starting, I had some idea of what to expect. I was already familiar with the studio from projects like This Is the Police. Overall, I expected the game to be interesting and engaging. It was noting that Hollywood Animal is currently in early access, so some functionality is not available or doesn't work properly yet. However, the Steam review is extremely positive. Now, about the game itself. The menu greets you with a pleasant melody and monochrome visual. The game immediately sets the right tone. The intro familiarizes you with the world and conditions under which you will running a movie studio. However, the first hour felt quite boring and confusing, mainly due to a drawn-out tutorial that only reveals the basic mechanics of filmmaking and studio management. The tutorial essentially holds your hand, highlighting available interface areas at key moments, so players don't do anything unnecessary or get confused. At the start, we are told the studio has 3 unfinished films left, one of which can be completed and sent to theaters. After making your choice, you finish production of that films. Spoiler alert, the other 2 films you could never have finished mysteriously disappear, and you never hear about them again. Moving on, while filming continues, the tutorial teaches building construction and creating new scripts. Once the release and basic building construction are finished, the real game begins. During the tutorial, I got the feeling this was a game dev tycoon, but with movie instead of games, and instead of simply hiring employees. You first need to build a facility and then hire staff. I felt like I had a minimal influence over the film and studio as a player. After completing the tutorial, the full game begins where decisions start to matter. So even this initially is not enough to understand what's expected and how to progress. For example, how to make a good film, create your own script, or interact with the world and employees. Only after several attempts at creating a successful film do you start understanding how everything works. But as the studio develops, new mechanics open up and more interaction with the outside world become available. These elements gradually capture your attention, creating genuine interest in the creative process and the studio's story. As I mentioned earlier, the game initially feels like a mix of game dev tycoon and city building simulator. The main goal is to make money creating film and develop the movie studio amid competition and historical world events. From city building simulators, the game inherited construction and resource spending on building. You can construct 10 unique main buildings, so the building element quickly takes a backseat, and you only remember it when you need to add an expansion. Perhaps this element develops better later, as each building has a condition parameter affecting building quality, but I never reached the point where I needed to repair or rebuild anything. All main buildings have their own set of extensions that unlock through a resource tree. Each building has its own tree, which is initially confusing, but the developers continue to guide us here too, lowering price so players initially choose only what's needed for comfortable gameplay and unlocking additional mechanics that make the game more engaging. By the way, about cost, you don't need to pay for research. The main resource here is time. You can only spend studio resources, simplify, speed up the process. Like in game dev tycoon, the filmmaking process consists of several stages: scripting writing, pre-production, production, post-production, and distribution. Each stage requires separate buildings and corresponding staff from screenwriters to marketing specialists. The most engaging part turned out to be pre-production. At this stage you have a finished script and need to determine who will direct the film, choose the actors and select where film will take place. When choosing location, players have two options: location shooting or studio shooting. Of course, you need to research and build studios first before using them. You also need to understand that studio shooting works for indoor scene. Green screen has not been invented yet. For large location, outside shooting works better. In the end, I didn't notice much impact from where filming takes place. Result remained roughly the same. At the end of pre-production came fine-tuning details, which technologies to use and how many studios resources to spend. Then you determine the producer, director and actors. When pre-production ends, the filming stage begins, where one of VP Wholesome's classic features appears, random events that can occur during filming. For example, something happens with one of the actors. They decide to bring their dog to set, and it is disrupting work. Here you need to make a decision that can affect both the actor and the entire crew. Interaction with the outside world works similarly. The other stages initially look like waiting points without ability to influence results. This changes with two additions: the script constructor and casting office. The script constructor lets you choose them and change script structure yourself, significantly improving film quality. The constructor itself is a set of text used to assemble the future plot. Initially only a few cards available with limited quantity in the story. As you develop, the quantity increases, but you can't just get new cards. You need to assign a screenwriter to search for new text to diversify the plot. The only downside is knowing which text the screenwriter will find, and there's always a chance they won't find a new tag at all. Honestly, with the constructor you can already assemble your own plots that will be better than the built-in generator. Because ideas from screenwriters often scared me when they produced a combination like Nights in the Wild West tracking a serial killer. I tried creating something like that, but preliminary assessments were disappointing. But what the script constructor provides doesn't compare to the casting office. With its appearance, the approach to the game partially changes. You can hire actors of any level, which helps elevate even films with Monday scripts. When viewing the available actor list, you'll notice that instead of regular cost, weight is displayed. This weight serves as a game currency variant and plays an important role in hiring. Part of weight can be covered by various company bonuses. The remaining weight must be covered with money. In any case, through negotiations, you can significantly reduce an actor costs. This is where the comfort department's purpose becomes clear. They are the main supplier of gift and corporate perks. After several hires, you start noticing employers' special traits. You might have encountered these mechanics in This Is the Police. This is the personality quirks and bad habits that create numerous controversial situations both during film and at any other time. Usually such problems attract unwanted attention to the movie studio if you don't give them enough attention. As I mentioned earlier, the game features interaction with outside world through unexpected events. Sometimes it's a random meeting at Bohemian Party where you can make useful connections. Sometimes it's a simple news about world events. By the way, knowledge of history from the 1920s to 1960 will be useful, as you can prepare several appropriate films for future events. I only counted 2 interesting events: filming a police movie at an officer request, and casting the mayor's daughter in a lead role to gain his support. While filming the police movie was problem-free since I only managed to write script and start filming. The mayor's daughter caused problems throughout. First, actors didn't want to work with her, and I had to find replacements during pre-production. Then during filming, it turned out one of stuntmen liked harassing actresses. And what a coincidence that he was supposed to have several scenes with mayor's daughter. Eventually filming was delayed 3 months to wait for another stuntman. Due to my 2-hour limit, I never finished this film or saw how this mayor storyline ends. This might seem a bit chaotic regarding main gameplay moments, but let's also talk about the game's aesthetic side. Visual presentation is a crucial part of any game that affects our immersion and ties all elements together. And I must admit, Hollow Animal excels here. The studio always nails the aesthetics and musical accompaniment for their products. Take this as police, the monochrome palette, eternal blue and light jazz background literally tell you, congratulations buddy, you have landed in a police department. And Herd Animals, the Golden Age Hollywood atmosphere is convented 100%. Building designs, character cards and overall rich aesthetic transport us directly to that era. The atmosphere is also supported by light background jazz that gently fills pauses without drawing attention to itself. One feature I noticed, the music changes depending on game speed. During puzzle it becomes muted, as if playing behind a wall, and when increasing game time speed it slightly accelerates, maintaining the current rhythm. This was really unusual and helped maintain focus, so we give the game 10 of 10 for this. Let's be honest, I like the game, and as we discovered, this opinion is shared by other users who tried the early version, but I still like to wait for the full release. According to developers, this should happen in the second half of 2025 according to their roadmap. In my opinion, this is really a solid project that deserves your attention. I didn't find any obvious flaws in the game, possibly because I roughly understood what to expect. But I don't feel like continuing to play right now. I stick the rules so the credit beats the game. Of course, in 2 hours I didn't manage to study all the features, but it's already enough to want to play through it at least once. Let's wait for the release to see the published Hollywood Animal, and then we can calmly enjoy all the available content the development team prepared for us. That's where I'll leave you. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you already played, please share your thoughts. This has been Phil, see you soon.